Hey guys, welcome back. It's Pep. You're watching The Sentinel. This is I've been tagged in a video by Yana from the Tommelise channel, which I'll link below. This is the fabulous fragrance tag for fanatics and friends. So I'll be answering a series of questions and then I will tag a couple of other people to do the same. So let's go ahead with the questions. So the first question is, how many bottles of perfume do you own? I have in my wardrobe about 125 different fragrances, and 65 of those are bottles from 30 ml to the biggest I have is probably 120 ml. So I'm counting anything from 30 ml up as a bottle, even though I do have a couple of mini traveler bottles that are 15 ml each. They're not actually decants, they come straight from the perfume house. I'm not really counting those. Yeah, so 65 bottles. A lot of those decants that I have will eventually turn into full bottles once I start working my way through those and the samples. But I think at the moment my collection is probably can be shrunk a little bit, because I kind of have a lot of the fragrances, most of the fragrances that I really want, and there's only probably a few that I still want to try and test a bit longer. Next question for me is a pretty easy one to answer. How do I organize and store my perfumes? Okay, so for the first part of that, I don't really organize. They're all stored out of sight. They're all basically in, most of them are in a bedside table cabinet, in the dark, not on display. My samples are basically all in one drawer, just they're not organized in any way. I need to kind of sort of go searching through them, and I have a couple of drawers in my wardrobe that I use to put bottles that aren't being used that much because of the season or whatever. So they're not on display at all, not in a glass cabinet, they're away out of the light, and they're not exposed to any heat in any way. Next question is, what was my first perfume purchase? Now, I'll answer this by saying that I had my first perfumes were actually gifted to me, and they were Lagerfeld Classic and a bottle of Jean-Paul Gaultier's Le Male. But the first perfume I actually paid for with my own money and chose myself was Bulgari Black, and that was back in 1999. And so only a year after it was released, and it was very new, and I've spoken about it before in previous videos. I have a current bottle of it. It will always be in my collection as long as it's around and still smells the same. So yeah, it was Bulgari Black. The next question is, what is my newest perfume? Now, I'll answer that by saying that the newest samples I have been trying is the range of samples from the House of Zoologist, and I'm slowly making my way through those, and I've been so impressed with every one of them that I've tried. And so there'll be a review or two coming up for a couple of those Zoologist perfumes. And the newest bottle I've bought recently, this is one of those 15 ml traveler bottles, but it's from Histoires de Parfum, and it's $18.99. I don't know if you can see that very well from there, but it's a little 15 ml traveler. This would take me a long time to get through. $18.99 is one that was recommended by Kristen from the channel Beauty Meow, and it was one of her favorite discoveries of 2017. I will link to her channel, and I'm very pleased I got it. It's quite a beautiful spicy cinnamon, and it does get compared to Spice Bomb. I can see where that comparison comes from, but there's also other facets to it that set it apart, and it does smell like a better quality fragrance to my nose. 1899 Hemingway by Histoire de Parfum. Okay, next question is, what is the most expensive perfume I have? I'll answer this by basically choosing the bottle that I paid the most per milliliter, and that bottle is a 50ml bottle of Le Labo Patchouli 24. I really like this scent, and I was lucky enough to get a 50ml bottle, but it was directly from a Le Labo shop store, and working out what this cost per mil compared to anything else I had, I think this has been the most expensive purchase I've made so far. So the next question is, what was the best perfume bargain I've had? And I've bought a few cheap perfumes that have turned out to be that I've really liked, but the best bargain I've been lucky enough to find was in a local pharmacy, basically around the corner from where I live. I was in there one day for getting something else, and I had a quick look at their fragrance cabinet, and I noticed that they had a couple of these tin can Yves Saint Laurent Rive Gauche, which aren't in production anymore. You can get Rive Gauche in La Collection series, so it's pretty much the same fragrance, maybe a little bit different, but in different bottles. This is the original bottle. So this is the original packaging this fragrance came in, and it's the one that that made this scent famous. It's lovely, clean, beautiful, classy barbershop fougere. You can still find these, but I managed to get this for under $70, and mainly because I don't think the place that was selling it really knew what these were going for. So I was kind of lucky I snapped it up, and it wasn't too long before the other bottle was snapped up. Next question is, what is my current favorite perfume store? I mainly purchase online, and when I want to buy bottles, I buy them mainly from Fragrance X, and I've had nothing but a good experience using Fragrance X. And like the shipping, especially international shipping, has been really reasonably timed, coming from wherever it comes from to Australia. You can find out various codes that where you don't have to pay shipping, and there's always discounts, and bottles are usually found at good prices. My favourite local perfumery here in Melbourne, there is a perfumery called Lore Perfumery, Lore, which is where I purchased those Histoires de Parfum bottles. They have a great range of niche fragrances there, and I look forward to visiting them and buying more fragrances from them. So they're my favourite perfume stores. Next question is, what is my current favourite perfume in my collection? At the moment, I actually have two that I can't split. Now, if you've been watching my channel for long enough, you probably can guess which two they are. The first one has been my favourite for a long time, pretty much since I've had it, and that is Timbuktu. I'm not going to go into much detail. And the second one is a more recently acquired bottle, and that is Fort and Manlay's Confessions of a Garden Gnome. That bottle is so beautiful, and I've done a review on both of these fragrances, so they're my two current favourites in my collection. Beautiful, beautiful fragrances. So the next question is a bit tricky for me, and that is, what is the least favourite perfume? And I'm going to assume that means from my collection. And usually, if I've got something in my collection, I don't usually dislike it. But I'll answer this question by saying that I have three fragrances which I don't really enjoy wearing anymore. Not because I hate the scents themselves, I just don't look, I prefer to wear other stuff, and it's been like that for quite a while. So the first one is actually Spice Bomb by Victor and Rolf EDT. This is the original one. I think it's a 2015 bottle. There's talk of reformulations. This performed reasonably well on me, but I just you know kind of got tired of this smell and didn't really think it was something that I wanted to wear too often. So it's got lots of fans, and you know, I don't hate it. I don't hate any of these fragrances, but I don't need it in my collection anymore. The next one is Remy Latour Cigar. Now this is a nice, perfectly nice tobacco fragrance. I have a lot of tobacco fragrances in my collection. Only problem with this, and it is very cheap as well, but this just doesn't last more than 2 hours on my skin. And finally, I'm sorry, again, another one that has a lot of fans, that is Mont Blanc Individual. I think I've just kind of outgrown this sweet, clean, you know, laundry sheet kind of vibe. It probably is a little bit, I feel like I'm wearing a young man's cologne and feel like mutton trying to dress as lamb. Individual. So again, I don't dislike any of these fragrances. I just don't want to wear them anymore. So next question is, what is my next perfume purchase? Well, right at the moment, I think the only thing I may want to purchase is a bigger, an actual bottle of one of the zoologist perfumes that I'm actually sampling at the moment. But I don't know which one yet, so that remains to be seen once I've finished testing them a bit longer. But certainly there's already a couple that have got my attention, and it's just a matter of really working out which one I want a bottle of. The other two, the only other bottles I want that I only have decants of in my collection at the moment are Mancera's Cedrat Boissé, and I would like a bigger, well, I would probably like a bottle of Millésime Impérial from Creed at some point. Second last question is, what is my dream perfume if money was no object? Now, to be honest, I couldn't really tell you what my dream perfume would be made of in terms of notes and things I'd use, because my taste has kind of been evolving at a pretty steady rate. If it was, you know, a year ago, I probably would have said something gourmand. 6 months ago, maybe some boozy tobacco kind of thing. Problem is that, you know, I can't think I could make something that doesn't already exist somewhere. So I guess if money was no object, I would probably, there is a house here in Australia called Cult of Scent, which make some really good fragrances, one of which I'll be reviewing very shortly. And I believe one of the services on offer is to make a bespoke fragrance and for the individual. And basically I would sit with the perfumer and talk about what I liked, what I don't like, and what my inspiration for the perfume might be, and actually get a bottle made up for me. What it would consist of, I don't know, but you know, if money was no object, I'd be onto that very, very soon. Finally, the final question, who should do this tag? Well, I'm going to tag Mr. Stephen Sproat. I love watching his channel, very much into powerhouse fragrances like Kouros and Fahrenheit and Antaeus, and he's got a great collection of vintage bottles from Fahrenheit and Kouros in particular. I love watching Augie on Your Two Cents, so I'm tagging Augie on his channel. He's very entertaining to watch when he's talking about fragrances. It's very like you're sitting in the lounge room with him just talking about favourite fragrances and what you think of them. It's such a really nice casual vibe that he's got going on. And the third person I'd tag is AC from the channel Smells Good. I'm so impressed by his knowledge of fragrances, of notes, of accords, and just all the background on the fragrances that he talks about. And you know, those guys should all have more subscribers, and I want them to do the tag. So hopefully you guys are watching this, and I'll try and let you know in some way or another. Thanks for indulging me, everybody, and thanks Yana once again for tagging me, and I hope that was interesting to someone, and I'll see you soon. Bye.